Welcome everyone. This is Kari Samuels here at numerologist.com, and I have such a treat and a surprise for you today. This is a wonderful opportunity for you. I have a special guest for you today, Andy Shaw. He is the creator of A Bug-Free Mind. He is a master manifester, and he has created a technique where you can completely eliminate all negativity from your mind. And when you do that, manifesting is easy. And what's so exciting about this is a completely new and different technique that makes things so much easier for you. And not only will you be able to manifest wealth and opportunities, but you're going to feel great about yourself. So I'm so excited to have him here. Thank you, Andy Shaw, for joining us. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me on.
Well, I have to say you're the most patient person in the world. Andy and I have just gone through a lot of tech to make sure that we have the opportunity to share this with you. And I have to say, after spending this amount of time with Andy, he is the nicest person in the world. So I think that's part of your appeal is and really helpfulness for people is that you are so relatable. The way you've created this technique of yours, it makes it so easy for everyone to apply, and I think that's the real beauty of it, isn't it?
I wanted it. It has to be easy. It has to be easy. My dad was a teacher, and he told me that we have to. It's the teacher's job to make it easy for the student. It's not the student's job to understand what the teacher's talking about. So I go out of my way to make it easy.
Yeah, and that's what's really beautiful about this. So this bug-free mind technique that you've created, this is something, I really feel this is revolutionary, and this is a real gift to humanity because The Secret came out and everyone got this awareness of how our thoughts create our reality and how we have power over creating our reality, and we are really meant to be creative beings, and it's really exciting to have that awareness. But then I think we've learned all these techniques about drawing things to us and bringing things to us and then trying to create, and it created something that I think wasn't easy. I think the way the law of attraction has been taught has been, first of all, it's very woo-woo. The way other people teach it, right? Like, it's very much about working with energy or the light body, and I think that can be very complicated for people, and I think it's been frustrating because people focus, I know for myself when I first started playing with this, you're focusing on what you want, and that can actually sometimes create more anxiety and more tension. Wouldn't you say so? Has that been your experience?
Absolutely true. I used to, when The Secret came out, I watched the film because everybody was going, "Oh, you've got to watch the film, The Secret." And I watched it, and I was really looking forward to it. And of course, I've been doing this for years, and I was fortunate. My uncle first told me about it when I was 13 years old. So of course, I've been doing it for a long, long time. And it was like, I wanted a new secret. We all want secrets, don't we? And it was like, it's disappointing to me. And then I saw how many people couldn't do it. And it was before that I'd noticed that people were struggling with that. And that's what fascinated me. That's what originally drew me into this whole world. Was why can I succeed? Why can I do it? And why do people struggle with it? And that's really what fascinated me. And I couldn't, because I'd read a personal development book, and I'd read it and go, "Well, this is fantastic. This is the answer. This is brilliant. This will help me do whatever I want to do." And I could go and take it and go and make money out of it, or go and use it for some other thing. But other people couldn't, and this wound me up because I was the answers were there, written in every book I read, but people couldn't do it, and that's when I really began to think, well, there has to be something different about what's going on inside my head compared to what's going on with other people. So, why do I think differently? And that's what really led me to it.
Yeah. So you have always thought differently. You've always been able to manifest pretty easily. This is something that's come naturally for you.
Well, it's one of the big revelations I had was when I realised that this isn't something I've acquired. This is my natural skill, and it's a natural skill that we all have. Every single one of us have this natural skill. But the problem is that society and our parents and our experiences and our peer group and our teachers and the media program this skill out of us. So, if you take any study done on it, a child starts off with an extremely high IQ, and by the time they're 25, they've got a much lower IQ. Well, hang on a minute, they've lost something there, haven't they? Something's gone on, and this was, there was loads of clues around. When I looked at it, I was, and I'd been a massive success in my life by most people's standards, and then all of a sudden, 2008, I lost it all. And don't get me wrong, I didn't. I went bankrupt, but my wife had a nice fortune that I built for her, and she didn't go bankrupt. But I still had to go through all of that, and I got to see the world for the first time through the eyes of somebody who couldn't succeed automatically, and it was the first time it had ever happened to me. Because to me, it was like, well, we'll go and build that business, and it'll be a success. And sure enough, it was. And now, for the first time, it happened. I was at the point when I started to put my mind back together. But previously, I'd asked the question, why can I succeed? Why can I do this? And I put my mind, as I was putting my mind back together, I went, oh, this is why they can't succeed. This was it. They got this noise in their heads, and the doubts and the negativity and the disbelief. It's not belief, because as soon as you try and use belief, of course you don't actually believe it, because if you did believe it, you wouldn't need to try and believe it, right?
Yeah.
So all of these things are actually preventing people from mastering the law of attraction and using it every day. But we do use it every day, and so all I had to do was I sat there and I thought about it, because I like to think, Well, I sat there and I thought, well, all I have to do is show people how to get back to their natural mindset, and that was it. That's what led me into it.
Yeah, and that's amazing, because a lot of people can say people listening may not all know your story, but you've built multi-million-dollar companies, but then you lost it, right? And so it's easy to say, oh, you had good upbringing, you were taught to believe in yourself your whole life, and you've been very successful. Easy for you, easy peasy. But it's when you lose it all and you're in a place of where you can not believe that things are going to work out for you. I think that's when it's really put to the test, where you can actually feel it and experience a sense of belief in yourself or peace when things are going wrong. And I think that's the hardest part for people when they're trying to conjure something, right? That's how we're taught with the law of attraction. It's like, you don't know what something feels like yet.
Yes.
But then you're supposed to figure out what it feels like before you know what the experience is and somehow replicate that, right? And I think that's where people get tripped up, because it's like, I haven't experienced this yet. How do I know what it feels like? And the world around me is falling apart. How do I get to feel that good feeling if I don't know what it feels like yet, right? Isn't that where a lot of people get tripped up? And why it's so hard?
Yeah, it's very true. It's it was obviously very quick for me to get my mindset back, because I'd had a really good mindset before. And, people can take longer. I had a friend who, it took him 8 months to master one of the core techniques I teach, and he said, I just can't get it. I said, just keep going, David. It's worth it. Just keep going, keep going. He sent me the wonderful email 2 weeks after he'd mastered it, saying, I mastered it, and I'm living in a serene life now. Thank you for forcing me to master it. So, and he because he didn't think he could master it, therefore it was difficult for him. Other people, I don't tell people this technique's particularly hard or this technique's particularly easy. I just give people the technique, and they can. Some people master it in a fraction of a second. Others will take a few hours. Some people will take a few days, or maybe even a couple of weeks. But once you master, it is the natural way you're designed to think. So all it is you just I was fortunate. I didn't come from a rich family or anything. My dad was a teacher and my mum was a small businesswoman, and we had a normal upbringing. But I had a multimillionaire uncle, a great uncle, and he took me to one side at the age of 13. He asked me a series of questions and told me I'd answered them a particular way that meant I was going to be a businessman. I was going to have a successful life, and I was going to be a millionaire. And all the things I had missing in my character that I needed to grow, make all this money and have this wonderful life. He said, don't worry, all the people you need will come to you. He said, and I said to him, how will I know they will come to me? He says, oh, don't worry, they'll have a sign on their heads. And that was it. So, of course, I left there at the age of 13, knowing that I was going to have the most wonderful life, go out into the world and make money. And, my mum, I wanted to go straight into business as soon as I left school. My mum said, you're going to go and learn a trade. So I had to do that. But, pretty soon after that, I went into business.
That's amazing. So because you were implanted with the beliefs that you can do it was part of what helped you do it, right? And I think
crucial.
What the bug-free life is that, and the bug-free mind is, we pretty much have been instilled with beliefs, most people, is that you can't do things or all kinds of limitations.
Yes.
And it's that expression, core limiting beliefs, right? Like we always hear that, core limiting beliefs, but these are these thoughts that come up over and over and over. And I don't think people are aware that we have them most of the time, because what happens, right? It's like you're focusing on what you want. And I think people are like, okay, I'm seeing it. I'm focusing on this. I'm visualizing it. This is going to happen for me. But there are all these things underneath there, aren't there, that prevent. And so your technique is not about conjuring so much some kind of probable future that may seem impossible to have if you don't know what to experience it, but really deleting and shredding, dissolving all of these other things that get in the way.
Absolutely. It's when I decided to go into this and decided to create my bug-free mind process, I thought, well, what hasn't been fixed? What's the missing bit? What's the bit that ties all this? Because I read all these wonderful books and I knew they worked. And I thought, what's the missing bit? And I realised that nobody had ever taught how to think. Everybody teaches what to think. So it's this is what to think about this. This is what to think. You need to think like this. You need to believe this. You need to do this. You need to do that. You need to do the other. You need to think positively and all this sort of thing. And I was like, well, they're all been taught what to think. Now, if you put what to think into a mind that doesn't know how to think, well, it might work. There's a chance it might work.
Yeah.
But if you put what to think into a mind that knows how to think, then it always works.
Yeah.
It's inevitable. So I thought, right, well, I'm not going to teach people what to think. I'm just going to give them very, very simple, what I call thought structures, which basically it's like putting a signpost in your mind. So when you get to a place where you would normally go the wrong way and go down the wrong road, this thought structure pops up and you go, well, you have a choice here. You can go down the wrong road and you know what that's going to be like, or you have a choice where you go down that road and it gives you lots of pleasure. Which one do you want? And you go, oh, I'll go to the pleasure. And that's it. That's all it is.
Thank you very much.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
And
that looks more appealing.
Yeah, exactly. We have, Aris? I don't really work on thinking positively. People say I'm a real positive thinker, and it's not true at all. I just don't think negatively. And, if I can give your listeners just one little thing, it's don't try and think positively. Just look at your life, and you find a thought that's negative. No thought stands still. So a thought either helps you go towards where you want to go, or it goes away from where you want to go. So once you know that and you accept that as a truth, and that's really crucial, you can go, right, okay, well, is this thought helping me or is this thought hurting me?
Yeah.
And once you look at it from that point of view, we go, it's helping me. Well, that's fine, I can stay. Oh, it's hurting me. Well, what do I want it then? Well, why do I want it then? And just by looking at it and going, well, why am I thinking that? It'll just dissolve. Now, I know it sounds too simplistic, but that's how this stuff works.
It's simple, but it's so important because I think what happens is this is very different than positive thinking, isn't it? Because positive thinking sometimes can be like a Band-Aid over like a gaping wound, right? You can have all this negative thinking beneath the surface, and people don't know what's in their subconscious mind a lot of times, right? It's because it's what's your subconscious. But there's all these thoughts that come up throughout the day that maybe you're not noticing if you're too busy focusing on thinking positive, which is covering up the thoughts that you're trying to suppress.
Yeah.
and that creates more of a mess.
Yes.
And I think that's where a lot of people get hung up. And I think a lot of people listening, they're like, I bought this book, I read this book, I'm always thinking about this, I'm always thinking about what I want, I've tried this. But this is actually very different than positive thinking, because this is creating, what you're saying is your natural state of being is positive, but there's negative thinking that's creating barriers between that natural outpouring of good things happening to you. So it's not about thinking positively. No, it's about releasing and dissolving negative thinking.
Absolutely.
So that your natural state of being, which is positive, can flow through. And I think that's what's it's so different than how we've been taught, but it makes so much sense.
I'm the laziest person you could possibly meet. I like things to be as easy as possible. And Aristotle said, the wise man doesn't seek out pleasure; he seeks to avoid pain. I seek to avoid pain in all I do. In my whole life, I seek to avoid pain.
Yeah.
And you remove the negativity. So you take one bit of negativity away, another bit away, another bit away, another bit away. And then pretty soon, there's no negativity left, and all that's left is positive. But it's achieved in an effortless way. So I'm naturally, I don't describe myself as a positive thinker, but I'm naturally that way, because I don't put any effort into it. It's just, if a negative thought comes up, like, see, here's how most people fail with the law of attraction. I'm gonna find my perfect partner, for example. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll use a divorced person as an example. Yep, I want to find my perfect partner. Instantly they go, but I've had a bad relationship already. It's probably unlikely. What would they want me for? Because I've got I've got all these problems, or there's lots of situations. They won't like the fact that I've got children. I got married too young before. They think I'm going to be, and all of that. Well, good luck at getting
because there's a weight.
Yeah, you've got nothing. The problem is, I mean, when I describe some of my best manifestations, which are people describe as awesome and that sort of thing. It's when I do nothing. All I do is I go, I'd like to do that. That'll be cool. Yeah, and that's it. God, that'll feel great. And then that's it. I don't even give it another thought. And then pretty soon it just shows up. I mean, when I've done it with, I did it with, as a kid when I was 19, 20 years old, I used to drive really, really fast along a road. And I used to drive along this road and I thought, God, wouldn't it be great to drive the world's fastest car? 15, 16 years later, I owned the world's fastest car. And the day it set the world speed record, I was the only person on earth who was driving one on the road. So I was not only the only person, I was the only one who had the world's fastest car.
Wow.
Right? So, and I didn't put any effort into it. Now, what most people would do is go, yeah, wouldn't it be great to drive the world's fastest car? But that's unrealistic,
Mm-hmm.
And they shoot the dream in the foot. And so you have to remove the doubt. You have to see the possibility. I don't think about how I'm going to do it. I think about how I'm going to do it when I've cultivated the dream in my mind and think, well, how can I do this then? I don't think, how could I do this, but that's not likely to work. I just give my mind possibilities. So I just open my mind, because the subconscious mind doesn't understand how to get you from where you are to there. So you just have to give it possible ways it could happen. And so I just sit there and daydream. I tell my children, you daydream as much as you want. When you're in the lesson, do the lesson, work there. But you daydream as much as you want. You enjoy it, because that's where you're going to create all your future. So just dream as much as you want and imagine the impossible. Yeah, and you'll be surprised when it shows up, because it'll be great. And sure enough, they do. It's fun to watch that.
It is fun, and you've been able to teach your kids how to think like this, right? Like, well, they're to their natural state, so you never taught them how to unthink like this. Is basically how it works, right?
I considered my role as a parent. One of my roles as a parent was to correct them back onto the right course when their friends, the media, school teachers knocked them off course, and I just pulled them back on course. And it's because you remove the bugs. My kid, they don't think the same as other children. My children don't really study very much, and they get straight A's. Because it's I've told them how to use their subconscious mind to get the right exam results, how to use, to pull the answers from the ether, sort of thing. And it's that's what led me to being invited to put a proposal together to put my system into a country. so into their education system. Yeah. So it's I was making that brag when I was on a world tour earlier this year, and somebody said to me, "Well, can you teach my daughter?" And it turned out to be a member of the person turned out to be a member of royalty. I ended up showing her how to go from a D to an A in a 20-minute conversation. So it was that sort of got me noticed by people.
Get your foot in the door.
Yeah.
Well, I think actually, there's some people that it's their soul's purpose to help other people, and you're one of those people, and you have the capability of not only being able to do this, but to teach this.
Thank you.
And a lot of people think, I think a lot of people think our thoughts are random, like we have no control over them. And so what we've learned to do is react. And a lot of people who have studied the law of attraction react by putting a positive spin on it.
Yep.
So it's like I'm reacting to all these negative programmings, but I'm going to put this positive spin on it, and it becomes something of hope, isn't it? And I know that's one of your favorite words, right?
You have been reading my stuff, haven't you?
I've been reading your stuff. I really enjoy it. I love your stuff. It came into so I've been studying the law of attraction my whole life. I've been studying spiritual laws my whole life, even before I knew it was called the law of attraction.
Yep.
And I actually came across a stumbling block recently because there was a challenging situation, and I was trying to get myself into a place where I could feel something that was difficult, right? Because it's hard to feel something if you're in a situation that's challenging. And so everyone at numerologist.com, actually not just at numerologist.com, but a lot of other people in the personal growth industry were talking about you. And everyone was saying how amazing your material is and how different it is. And so because I was in this place where I was in a stumbling block, I started listening to your material, and I was so fortunate that I was around people. Well, I manifested it, right?
You did.
That can help me find what I needed. And I'm a little bit cynical in some ways because I'm like, I've seen and heard everything. And I think a lot of people think that it's like, how is this different? I don't want another thing to read. And the thing is, you have so much material. Like, you take everything, and it's like every possible doubt that you can have. Because as I was listening, I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah. But then a doubt would pop up, and then you would say the doubt that pops up in my head and unravel it. And you have a very comprehensive work. And what was so great about it is you're aware of the doubts that other people have, and each one, it's somewhat logical. And I think that's what's so profound about it, because I really believe that the best way to access your life is by incorporating the left and the right brain, because a lot of the law of attraction stuff is very woo-woo and very energy-based, and that's actually how I approach it, because I'm pretty woo-woo energy-based. But you actually are very logical. This is a structure.
Absolutely.
And structures, I was thinking about this too, because let's say you want freedom in dancing. You see a dancer and they're so free the way they move, but that comes from practicing at the bar. And if you're a musician, you practice your scales. So there is a structure that comes with freedom. And I think a lot of the way the energy-based things, they're so kind of about like energy and the universe and that kind of thing and dreaming, that what was missing was actually this structure, the way that you can apply your logic and your reasoning to access your intuition and to access the freedom that comes with it. So yeah, I have been listening to your stuff, and it's been helping me tremendously. And like I said, I've been studying this my whole life, and I still found it very new. And that's why everyone at numerologist.com is so excited to share you with their people, because I think what you do helps people apply everything else that they think they've been learning. Is that right? Has that been your experience?
Absolutely. I always, I mean, I'm very fortunate. Got a lot of friends I've got a lot of friends who are some of the teachers from The Secret and all that sort of thing, and a lot of friends in all the personal development world. And I designed this so that it complements everybody. Yeah, but it enables people to much better use what they've already learned, because it's just it's the glue that brings it all together. So all of a sudden, you can just use everything you've got. If somebody's failed at a stock trading program, because I help traders, I help salesmen. The list of people
Yeah.
I work with is extraordinary, because it's it covers all religions, all sexes of all groups of people,
Yeah.
hundreds of over 130 odd countries. And the reason is I don't ram anything down through people's throats. It's very, very simple. It's like, right, okay, well, I teach happiness and that sort of thing. It's very easy to achieve, very fast.
Yeah.
People want happiness, but they don't think they can be happy. And of course, you can be happy in an instant. And so once you discover that you can achieve that very, very quickly, life gets very easy. And I'm all about life being easy and simple. And I just saw quite a lot of, it was don't get me wrong, I'm not a selfless individual at all. One day I sat there and thought, what am I going to do with my life? And all these people were thanking me for the articles I'd written. And I saw I had the answer that people seemed to be looking for. Well, I thought people were looking for. And this wave of responsibility came over me, like, maybe I should write this down.
Yeah. Well, I think it is your purpose to share this with people. It's without a doubt, because not only have you had the opportunity to experience what it's like to be successful, but you had the opportunity to experience what this was like when things were falling apart and know how it works.
Yeah.
And I think that's where people say, because a lot of people, they're not happy when they achieve what they want. Because even if you get that, let's say you have healthy kids, you can be worried all the time about something happening to them. Or you're in a relationship, you can be worried the whole time about losing them. And most people are afraid of losing money.
Yeah.
Like, the wealthiest people in the world are not necessarily the most comfortable or happy because they're worried about money. Now, you already experienced losing that, like millions of dollars, and you weren't worried, were you?
I was before I regained control of my mind. The second I regained control of my mind, no, there was to me it was like, right, well, that's happened.
Yeah.
That's a train wreck. Oh, that's going to happen. Yes, that's happening very shortly. So I just I fixed my mind, and to me it was inevitable that I would become a multimillionaire again. And I became one again earlier this year, and it was pleasurable again, but it was much more enjoyable than the time I did it before, because it was random before. It was like rush, rush, rush. Oh, it's happened, right? And you're going so fast because you're running. Whereas this time, what I was able to do, because it was inevitable, because I saw it as this is something that can be created from the start. You can just sit back and you can create it. I got to enjoy every, it's like a slow motion replay as has gone on, and you get to enjoy it. And the problem is we're all taught to rush, and we have to be busy, and we have to rush, and we have to be stressed, and we have to work hard, and all this sort of thing. And there are so much easier ways in life than that. It's like you said earlier, we were trying to get the tech working. You're very patient. It's like, well, as I said to you, I don't really have a lot happen that's bad in my life, so this is not really an issue to me, right? Because life's easy. I expect life to be easy, and because that's a structure in my mind that I expect life to be easy or get easier, it's easy or it gets easier. And what most people think is, it's going to go wrong. It's going to be hard. So of course they're going to get that because they're manifesting it.
Yeah, you're manifesting. And I think it's that expectation. I think that's where I really feel that's where people get tripped up, because you can imagine something and then you can feel it, but then you can expect it not to happen. And what you're teaching, and you can learn how to expect something different, right?
Absolutely, yeah, I do. I teach this. I say to people, when I did the tour earlier this year, that one of the things that's actually very difficult to teach in writing is how to actually have something happen in your mind to the point that where it's actually happened in your reality. So not in the physical reality, in your mind, it's like, well, this has happened. And I got people, and it was 3 10-minute exercises, and I got them to imagine achieving getting their favourite car, which was an easy one. And then I get them to imagine a 3-week holiday in the Serengeti or, somewhere around the world. And then I get them to imagine something that's absolutely impossible. And every time, 65% of the people in the room in 10 minutes felt it happen in their reality, in their mind. That was in 10 minutes. So the impossible thing happened as well. And it wasn't the same 65%, it was different people all the time. And I said, if you spent just 1 hour imagining that impossible thing, do you think you could have it? And 100% of the people said yes, they could. And I said, well, that's impossible. So do you think everything you want in your life is possible? Could you actually make that happen? Of course, yes, you can. It's just it is as soon as you remove the doubt, and it's just a process to remove the doubt. It's just a process, and sometimes it just works. You know how things we were chatting before we went on, and you said about how you manifested our joint friends, and you didn't put too much energy into it. You just this is who I'd like to work with and that sort of thing, and it just happened.
It did. It was pretty easy.
Yeah.
And I think that the most amazing things are the things you're not trying so hard to do. And I truly believe that's where a lot of people get tripped up with how this is usually taught.
Yeah.
Is because, and you can see it in people's energy. I can see it in people's energies. I was actually in a group environment when The Secret came out. And even though it was so helpful for people to understand that it is our birthright to be our creators. That's what we're put on this planet to do. But you can see people starting to stress and conjure and create and all this effort it was like effort. And so when a lot of people are conjuring something that they don't know how to get, they're trying to conjure it. They're trying to pull it in, and it's a lot of strain. And so what I'm getting at is what you teach, and from what I've experienced actually as well, from what you teach, our natural state of being is effortless.
Absolutely. And
it's just removing, and I say just because it is just. It is simple, right? That's the whole thing. It needs to be easy.
We make it hard. When I get to teach younger guys, like I had a friend's son come up to see me about 3 weeks ago. Yeah, we've got some really good friends, and we've got a curry house that's just over the road from us, and we went to the curry house, and they said, "Oh, our son's going to drama. He can't. He's getting a D grade at the moment. He can't. He needs to get a minimum of C, probably a B." I said, "Well, do you want me to have a word with him?" And they said, "Well, what can you do?" Because they don't know what I do, because I'm just normal to the people around me. It's only on places like here I'm abnormal. And I said, well, just get him to come up. So my friend brought him up, and I just chatted to him for 20 minutes. And it was, because he's 15 years old, same age as my son. And of course, it just went straight in. There's no barriers. There's no problems. So, of course, he went to the exam, sat down at the exam, looked at it. His mind went completely blank. And I said, when your mind goes completely blank, just carry on reading and don't worry about it. And all the answers will come to you. Sure enough, he read the second question and went, oh, I know the answer to the first one. And then he went through, and we think he's got an A, straight away. Because it's very easy to teach when you're younger. The older a person gets, the more build-up of assumptions, because we think we're making clear, conscious decisions all the time. This is what when I was trying to hold it all together because it was all breaking. I thought I was making good decisions. Because I wasn't making good decisions because it was all everything I was doing was built on poor assumptions and that sort of thing. I'm trying to make this work. Well, that's almost doomed to failure. I don't try to do anything. I just do it. And whether it works or not, I don't mind. I just carry on doing it. That's it. So there's no trying. There's no, it's all people are doing is they are trying so hard that they're saying to their subconscious mind, please give me more of trying to get this.
Yeah.
Well, good luck, you know.
Yeah, so you have more trying energy. So maybe you're able to manifest what you think you want, and then you're not happy still.
Yeah, exactly.
Because your mind is still clouded with other worries and other doubts and other feelings of self negativity in some way. And so that's why it's, even if you can manifest what you want a lot of times, unless you have this structure in place of really dissolving negativity at its source, really dissolving it before it has a chance to affect you, or really dissolving the things that are affecting you now so that your natural state of being. And I think that that is what creates more ease and more happiness, because even if you get what you want and you still have all of this negativity in your mind, you're going to create something more
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
of negativity. So you have this one thing, and then the rest of your life feels bad.
Exactly, you're exactly right. It is. There's no point in getting there and it being a nightmare when you get there too. So, you know, I just sit there and I think, right, okay, well, let's make life as easy as possible. Let's take away all. I never used to worry. I was. People used to say to me, "You should. Why don't you worry? That's wrong.
You should worry.
You should worry." And I'd be
Don't worry. It's going to help you somehow.
What do you mean? I should worry? And I couldn't. I never understood it. And then when it went wrong for me, I started to worry, and it was like, how can people live like this? You know,
yeah,
how can you live like
this? It is, and people do live in that constant state of worry, and then it creates more worry. So if you're spending 15 minutes a day, like visualizing what you want, but you're spending the rest of your time worrying,
correct,
it's a very difficult place to be.
Right,
So talk to us about how you teach people how not to do this, how to dissolve this. Like, how does this work?
Well, first off, you have to recognise that there's no benefit in worrying, right? And that's the very first thing. You know, you're either dealing with a situation or you're accepting it. So if there's something coming up, like you've got to pay the rent or something like that, okay, well, I'm dealing with the situation. I'm at work right now and I'm making as much money as I can towards paying the rent. When I leave work, I can think about other ways to make money to help pay the rent. Okay, so I don't need to worry about that because I'm doing all I can right now and I'm accepting it. Because whatever happens, when that situation comes up, you've got to deal with it anyway.
You have to deal with it. Yeah. It's about dealing with it, not worrying about it,
exactly.
Right?
So the problem is we've got these entities in our head, which is our ego, which throws rocks at us. And we think that it's us speaking, but it's not. It's this little nutter, I describe it as, that basically, you know, it goes... you know, let's say you want to get rich. So somebody goes, I want to manifest, I want to make a lot of money. I want to manifest $1 million or whatever. The ego says to them, which they think's them, it says, we've never done that before. You've never made money. You've failed at everything you've ever done. Right? And they think that's them saying it. And it isn't. It's their ego. That's not you. That's not the person. So you have to, you know, once you can stop the ego, because it's invisible, because they think it's them, they can't stop it.
Right.
But when you can make that visible and recognise that that's not you thinking it, because there's no benefit in you thinking that. You know, if my ego ever says something like, you've never done that before, I literally, you know, because I imagine this little horror sitting on my shoulder, he's not there very much anymore, he hides away in the corner thinking, I hope he can't see me from here. Right? But occasionally, if it comes out to play, I just go, well, what's the point of telling me this? I already know this. You don't need to state the obvious, you know. Well, that's not going to help us get to where we're going to go. So what's the point of saying it then? You know, you see, there was 3 or 4 little structures there that were knitted together that basically dissolve the pain that the thing can catch you. And what happens is you just, you know, where's the benefit to me of thinking that way? There is none. And once you recognise there's no benefit, you can let that worry go, and it's just one at a time. And each one each one that comes to you, you know, it's like there's all the fears. I cover the fears. It's the only section in the book that actually used 2 sections, because there's a huge array of fears that are linked with anxiety, stress, and all this sort of thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, all kinds of misery.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but you have to put a structure in place to take them apart, so that when the fear comes up again, you know, and it's I don't know, whatever it is. Some people have fear of flying, some people have fear of spiders, whatever it is, right? And fear of failure, the big one, as I call it. But, it's once you learn the simple way of doing it to remove the fear, because you see the fear as no benefit. And once you see it as no benefit, I know that sounds crazy, but once you see the fear as no benefit, fears start to dissolve. Yeah, and that's all I do really. You remove. I call it baggage. People are going through life with so much baggage.
So much baggage.
And then they're trying to succeed while carrying all this heavy baggage. And they look around at somebody like one of the world's successes, and they think, oh, how can they do all of the stuff they're doing? And it's quite simple. They're not carrying all the baggage. So once you've let that go, you can move on.
And you can. And the example that you were using, I think a lot of people experience. It's like, well, I don't have money when I don't have enough money, right? To pay what I need to pay or to have a good life. But it is, if you really think about it, which is what you help people do, if you let go of these worries, which what people think is being realistic, I think. People think, oh, that's just being realistic. When you release yourself from that, you will be able to access information and opportunities that weren't there before because you were literally keeping that from coming into your life. And it sounds simplistic and it sounds easy, but let's say you take away one piece that's like, well, I can't do that, or, who are you, or it's never been done, or whatever. And, what if you said it's never been done? Well, that's part of why you're so valuable to us, because this, what you've taught, has never been done. Yeah. That's why there's a value, right? Yeah. So what if you said, well, nobody's going to accept that because everybody's teaching it this way or whatever. So if you peel away one thing and you peel away one thing, underneath that is what you really, really want. And how you're going to get there is so clear, but I think, and what you're saying is people put all this on top of that they don't even see the possibilities. Yeah. And so when you take away all those, so it's not like you're carrying around all this baggage and you're visualizing something that doesn't even match like what the baggage that you're carrying. All you need to do is take away that baggage one by one. Yeah. Take away your worry one by one. And it seems simple because it is.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
We overcomplicate it. We sit back and we've been trained to see we have to look at things from a realistic point of view.
Realistic.
I sat back. I was inspired to the potential of putting what I teach into an education system. And I sat back and I was inspired, and I was told this country may be interested, and I didn't like the look of the country because it was too far away and it was awkward. I thought, no, I'll look around for another one. And then I was in a country when I was driving around in the back of a taxi, and I just turned to a friend who's a very forward, abundant thinker as well. And I said, I reckon I could teach these people. And he went, do you reckon you could? And I said, yeah, I reckon I could, and I reckon they'd be interested as well. That was it. Within a few weeks, I was at one of my events. I don't do these events anymore, but I was at a 5.5-day training event, and a lady said to me, I know 79 of the most influential 79 out of the most 100 influential people in that country. And I went, if I had your connections, I'd be changing the world. And sure enough, we ended up meeting and setting it all up. And it was just a pure, do you see what I mean?
Effortless.
Yeah, it was effortless because I didn't doubt that I could do it. I wasn't worried about when it would happen. As far as I was concerned, it's going to happen because I've set the intent for it to happen. So if you've set the intent, that's enough. And the thing is, there's no doubt.
So what I know people are thinking, good for you, Andy, but what about me? Can I do that? Can I get from here to, you're one of these people that I see all the time that's very blessed and you're different than me and blah, blah. So you've obviously taught a lot of people. People have been able to learn this, right? Like people can learn this, right? That's what everyone wants to know. Can I get my mind to be like that? Yeah. This is you can teach this, right? You can learn this.
It's a process. It's not something that you've got to be incredibly clever to be able to get. This is it's designed for It's designed for the 99.99% of people. Anyone, if you can read, if you can listen, and if you can understand English, because it's only available in English, then basically you can learn it. It's just a process. It takes some people longer. It's easier for some. It's less easy for others. The ones it's easier for have got a bit more of an issue because it's easy for them. They think they've got it and they haven't actually got it. So it's actually the perfect person is somebody who's just, I have to listen to that again. I have to listen to that again. That's the perfect way of learning it, or reading it, because you can do it very, very slowly. But that's it. It's a process. I got fascinated by how only 1% of people could succeed by reading books and things like that. And when I released an earlier book on real estate investment, I went, right, okay, I'm not accepting that. I have to get a much, much higher percentage success rate, and I got a much higher percentage. Something like 35% of people went on to make a lot of money out of it. But with this book, with this process, I thought, no, I've got to get better. It's got to be much better than that. And it's, I don't know what the survey said now, but it was something like 92% of people say this is working for them. This is, which is,
That's extraordinary.
Yeah,
so 92% of the people who've implemented a bug-free mind have been able to really feel that they've changed their life and changed the way they think, and they get it.
Yep, it's
because people are jaded, right? Like, because people are like, I've tried everything. So this is something you can actually implement and get and really start to see and feel differently.
Within the first 20 minutes, half hour, it's an instant thing. Oh, you've seen this. You've started reading it.
I was going to say, like, that was my experience too. It got me in a different. My private name for you is the British Buddha.
I'll tell my wife that later. She'll find that highly amusing.
Well, it's very much about being present, which is really what all the religions, everybody's been trying to teach us. Because, the manifestation, which is very future-oriented, there is a sense of you creating your future. I mean, you definitely teach that as well. But getting to that present state, that present moment state where you're released from all that pain of negative thinking, getting to that place really is more powerful than trying to make something happen, which feels like the weight of the universe on you. And so it is really, I do see the simplicity of it, and I do see how this is so much different. That can really help people, because you don't need to be a woo-woo person. You don't need to be like aware of energy and the light body, and which can be complicated for people. It's just really just like scales. Like, like I was saying with the musician, you can teach people the scales and then you're playing music, and you really bring it back to basics. So I can see why you've had a big success rate. But I know people are out there and they, because, people have tried everything, but it is different that way, isn't it?
Absolutely. The reason it's different is there's virtually nothing in the book is new. Anyone who's read, the bit on hope, as you spoke earlier about, that's new, because I had a real issue with that. I couldn't understand why people saw that as a good thing. But anyway, virtually nothing's new. It's all taken from Lao Tzu, Krishna, Buddha, Jesus, Muhammad. A lot of it's based in Arabic teaching and all this. It's a huge amount of wisdom that's been distilled over time. And if you actually read what they've written, they're saying the right thing, but they're not saying it in a way that's so easy enough to apply.
Right. That's why you're the British Buddha.
Yeah, exactly. So all I did was, and it's really simple, all I did was, right, okay, let's make this so that people understand what they're trying to say, and make it applicable. And that's it. That's all I've done, right? You've
done it really well, I have to say.
Thank you. But I put it in a way that, because the problem is people think that they can go and learn how to not be afraid anymore, learn how to get self-confidence, learn how to think positively. And the problem is, all of this stuff is in your head and it's all linked. So you can't fix one area because it's all connected, just like water's connected. And the problem is that you can't fix this area of a pond that's muddy by cleaning the area of no self-confidence and having it crystal clear, because it's going to get infected by the rest of the muddy water. So you have to fix the lot. So it had to be a process to fix it, because I looked at it and thought, well, how do I fix somebody's mind who's never had it fixed in their adult life? And it has to be a process. It had to be, right, well, we have to take away the baggage piece at a time until they can, give them the time, give them a transition where slowly they think every day it's getting lighter and lighter. You've seen it. It's a feeling of lightness, isn't it?
It is lightness, because you're releasing yourself of the burdens. And then when you're in that state of lightness, and this is actually how I teach intuition too, because you have to get into that place. The universe wants you to succeed. It's just we block ourselves off from it. Yes. And it is what every religion teaches. But I don't think it's easy to understand. Like, what's the sound of one hand clapping? Like, you can wrap your mind around that for a long time. But you do make it very simple and very easy. You've made this in a way that everybody can apply. 92% right? I mean, that's amazing. Can you tell us a little bit about this? Because I know people want to know
sure.
What is this? How can I get it? How can I start using this? So can you tell us a little bit about that, or a lot about it? Take your time.
Okay. It's basically we go through. First off, we show how to control our minds again. I explain why personal development hasn't worked for some people, where you've got all the knowledge, all the wisdom, but can't seem to apply it. Yeah, so instantly it knits all that together. So you're like, oh, thank goodness for this. I've found what I'm looking for. Then you take through the levels of mind control. So instantly you can get yourself to a state where, the Buddhist monks and everything like that meditate so they can still their mind. Well, I teach people how to still their mind until they can get it in literally in a
and it's easy. It's not like a lot of meditation that's hard, right? This is it's a very easy way, right?
Yeah, I'm far too lazy to do anything too. I never thought I'd meditate in my life.
Thank goodness you're lazy. Thank you.
And then it's a process of removing worries, removing negativity, removing the doubts, learning the power of acceptance, of surrender, learning harmony, which is just awesome. And then all of the different elements of the mind, which build confidence and all, remove all shred of weakness and doubt and all that sort of thing. Then there's all the transitioning that goes on, because now all of a sudden you're seeing the world through a different set of eyes. Because obviously things like most people find that their years speed up. Yeah, but when you learn to when you learn to master this, you can actually learn to slow down time. Because you're becoming more and more present, so of course you're more and more awake. And the reason time speeds up is because you sleep more in the day. Your body takes things away from you. Well, when you can become more predominantly present, you wake up and you have more time, like when you're a child again. And then that's which makes people feel pretty good. And then
your world isn't just slipping by.
No, exactly. And then it takes it on to once you've done that's really creating a bug-free mind. So you've now taken your mindset back to when you were a child again, because our child's mindset is just wonderful, absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, full of imagination and possibility.
Exactly, but the problem is, people have a bad childhood, or they have something happen that messes them up. Well, we remove all that. Yeah. So you go back.
Unmesses them up. Yeah. Unmesses people up.
Yeah, people think it's their fault, and it's not their fault. They've never been taught how to think. So all we do
is, and you're a teacher.
Yeah, exactly. So we go, well, here's how to think, so you can handle any situation. So if something horrible happens, you can now handle it very, very easily, and it doesn't affect you in the same way. It starts with basic things. I teach people to. When somebody pulls out in front of them, they used to get angry about it. Yeah, look at that idiot on the road. Now it doesn't happen that way, because now it's like that person's asleep. Let's give them a break. They're obviously having a really bad day. So,
boy, if you could cure road rage, that's enough to buy the book right there.
One of my attendees paid $10,000 to come to an event in Las Vegas last year. And he came along and he said, how do I handle the fact that this parking attendant doesn't get my car ready for me? And I showed him how that technique. And he went, and this was in the first hour of being at the event. He says, it was worth $10,000 just to have that technique.
I bet it is. I'm sold. Yeah.
But
and for the people around them too. Like, all your friends will like you more too, right? If you're not, if your loved ones, it's like the best thing you can do for them is being a happy person.
Exactly. And then once you've got that mindset right,
Mm-hmm.
then it's now time to use it, because now you've got the mind that you had as a child.
Right.
Now you can use it to go and create anything you want in life. And so
Right.
by now you've already started manifesting. You've already started having things just to happen and manufactured coincidences. But then when you sit down and you design what's going to happen for the rest of your life, it's awesome. Because it's things just fall into place. I mean, people send me emails all the time saying, they can't comprehend that it can have been this easy. Because, but it is. That's how it's supposed to be. Right?
Yeah, so you take all those manifesting techniques that'll, some people are, but you create the structure first,
yep.
and then teach people how to use these manifesting techniques
yeah.
to create your future deliberately.
Yeah. It's the biggest problem people have in the world is they don't know what they want. As a child, you knew what you wanted. I want that ice cream. I want to play with those blocks. I want to do this. And children knew what they wanted. They just didn't have big lofty goals, whereas now adults are so, they go, well, I think I want to go and do this, and then the ego will say, well, you probably won't get it, and they go, well, actually, I don't think I want to do that. Actually, I want to go and do this. Well, you're probably not going to get that either. So they have all these doubts and fears and worries. But once you've removed all of those, you dare to dream again. I say to people, look, once you can learn to dare to dream, then all of a sudden, the things from your past, your childhood, where you dreamt. I mean, I dreamt of, as a kid, when I was 5 years old, I used to watch Thunderbirds on the TV. And, it had these puppets, and they had international rescue, and they flew around the world saving people. And I thought, wow, I want to build international rescue when I grow up. But I didn't. But my books fly around the world helping people. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah. So, it's, you
never know how it's going to take place. So the first part is eliminating the bugs, and then it's creating. And what else?
Then you're into using it. Now it's a case of what do you want to do with your mind? Because now all of a sudden you've got the same mind as an ultra successful person, and you can do anything you want with it. That's it. So now it's just
amazing.
Thank you.
It is. It is, and that you can teach this and so easily and so effectively, and that it's helped so many people is fantastic. So we're so excited that we're offering this to our community. And what we have, you can purchase this. We have a button beneath this video where anyone can purchase this. So you can just click on that button and you can access this material. And you have this in audio and book form, right? So people do one or both. I like both because when you have audio, you can listen to it. I'm a bit of a multitasker, so you can listen to it. And people who don't really believe they have time at this point, right? You can listen to it while you're doing other things, while you're driving, and I think it's really effective that way too. So I like both, but you have it in both forms, right? Like either or both.
Yeah, it's very, very simple. If it's in both, I've always about 80% of people get it in both, but usually the remainder of the 20%, all but a few of the remainder of people buy one thing and then they come back and buy the other bit later because they realise this is the real deal. This is the
real deal. Yeah, and I've experienced that. Like I said, I've been studying the law of attraction my whole entire life, even before I knew what it was called.
Me too.
I've been studying universal laws my whole life. I love your simplicity of it, yet thorough. It's totally thorough. You really dismantle one by one all the fears that come up. You do it so brilliantly. So we're so happy that you're offering this to us, and it's such a nominal investment for such an amazing, profound change of life. Like someone who's going to teach you how to think successfully, or just to think to be happy. I mean, that's priceless to me, and it's such a nominal investment. So it's easy peasy because we like everything easy, right? And we have a button right beneath this video where you can purchase it. One or both forms, amazing. And Andy, I want to thank you so much, not only for spending time today in sharing this with us and making this available, but really for what you've done with your life to change the world. I really want to thank you because I truly believe this is such a gift to humanity, and I'm so grateful that you are doing this. So thank you so much.
What a lovely thing to say. Thank you very much for saying it.
I mean that, and I'm sure when people experience it, they'll be like, Andy Shaw, thank you so much for helping me.
That really winds my wife up.
This is exactly what I've been looking for. So anyway, thank you so much, and once again, you can get this by clicking the button below. And Andy, thank you so much for sharing this with us, and you listening, thank you so much. I know this has been your time, and I know this will pay off for you manifold. So thank you so much, and I wish you all the best. And Andy, I wish you all the best as well. Thank you, and take care.